Hi, everybody. It's Maria Quattrone with Be the Solution and Remax at Home. Today is Friday, May 1st. I am so excited to welcome my guest today, Mark Canale. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Mark is from
Thanks for putting this on.
and they're doing some really cool things over there. How are you? How are you making out? How are you and your family doing?
We're good. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not a teacher. It's not my strong point. I'm more of the entrepreneurial provider type person. So it's been a little bit of a struggle trying to adapt over working at home, phone calls constantly, and then going over kindergarten and first grade curriculum, but making the most of it, trying to at least.
The girls are good.
Girls are good. Girls are happy. They're loving it. They're loving it and they hate it at the same time because they miss their friends. They generally like school. So they're kind of confused as to why they can't go see them. So that's an interesting topic. But it's kind of become the norm now. You know, you wake up, you go downstairs, you do your work, and we're just trying to not go crazy. So I'm and obviously they're not going back this year. So the next 6 weeks are what they are. The city of Philadelphia is doing what they can to kind of make the online platform be as user friendly as possible. But everybody's learning as they go. So there's really no hard and fast way about it. They're not holding you that accountable right now because they understand, what everybody's going through as far as trying to work at home and juggle everything at the same time. So yeah, we're doing the best we can, but they're good. They're happy.
That's good. I mean, that's what's really important, right?
Yeah.
So all this craziness. I've been pretty good for the most part. We have some family challenges right now ourselves with my parents selling their house and my dad not being able to get an apartment in the city because the buildings are closed, and I have him here in my third bedroom. So it is definitely been
starting to test you.
It's been quite a week. Yeah. Look at my hat. I'm going to the beach.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Yeah, you're not the only one. There's multiple people that have the hats on, and we all get it. We understand. It is what it is. Maintenance is very important to a lot of people, whether it's the nail salon or the hair salon or whatever the case may be. So totally get it.
Yeah, it's no joke. The hair is no joke. Now, I know you don't have to deal with that.
I know. I'm actually, it's the one time where I'm like, you know what? I don't have to worry about that. I self-care at home. So yeah, my hairstyle's never in question. It's not coming back anytime soon. And fortunately, I don't have a bunch of dents in my head. So it works. It works out well for me.
I figured this morning, I said, I got to have a good day today. I have to have, bring as much positive energy as I can to it and follow my own mantra of be the solution. So I said, I looked at I'm in or one of our bedrooms, and I turned it into an office closet. So like half of the room is the office, the other half is a closet. I brought, if you can see behind me.
Yeah.
My whiteboard from the office. They're like, how the heck did you get that in there? I'm like, well, it's 2 pieces. We carried it up.
Yeah.
Put that there. It's like blocking the clothes, and I'm going to use that to develop some new ideas. But I looked around, and then on the shelf, I saw all my hats. I'm like, I'm going to wear a hat today. And they said this morning, I had it on Zoom. We have it 8 a.m. every morning. They said, Are you going to wear it on the live? I go, I am.
I
have some fun, Mark.
I've been trying not to dedicate an area of my house to a home office because I don't want to work at home. I like to be out and about multiple places. I like my office. I like the dynamic there with the other loan officers and operations that are there. You kind of like collaborate. You have an idea, you can bounce it off people. But given the new norm being what it is, that's kind of been what I've been doing. I'm in my kitchen right now, but I've been using this time to buy furniture and do things to kind of dedicate an area, because it seems like companies have proven that they can work from home and be pretty successful. So I don't really foresee the office dynamic coming back anytime soon. So I had to adapt and overcome that challenge. So in the next week or so, I should have it all set up, but I have the space for it. So I might as well just go with it.
Might as well just go with it, right? I think that we can have probably less office space. Maybe we're just touching down there. I don't know.
Commercial brokers aren't going to want to hear that, but it's the reality of things. Is
I never,
if you had a company, right, that was on the fence about it, and people were like, I want to work from home, I think I can do it, and they're like, all right, we'll just dip our toe in it and we'll see if it works. And they let a couple people do it, a couple people here. Well, they were kind of forced to do it when this went down. They're like, well, I guess we're going to just make it happen. And now over the last month, if you've been successful with it, your CFOs are looking at the bottom line and saying, like, we're being pretty productive with everybody working at home. And we can save 7 to 10% on our bottom line with commercial rent on our offices. You don't have that office chatter when people are more productive because they're not walking around talking to the other employees or whatever. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. But I mean, from just a strict business standpoint, a bottom line, if you're looking at how productive your team is working remotely and it's working, this is going to change a lot of the ways people do business.
I know that I'm way more productive because one, I'm not walking over to wherever to go to lunch, grabbing an Uber, traveling, a half an hour for an appointment.
Right.
Everything's on Zoom. I really have found, Mark, that, and tell me what you think about this.
Yeah.
I'm talking to clients on Zoom. I feel like we are connecting more digitally than we were face to face at their house.
I haven't noticed. Well, I think because it's new, I haven't noticed that. I mean, because I'm an extroverted person at heart. I like to be in and about places, whether it's being in a real estate office. I like bouncing around. I like that physical element to it. So this is a little bit of a challenge for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is cool. I've been doing closings. We're not going to closings, right? So I've been doing Zooms with clients the day before, a couple days before, whenever the package is done, before with the share screen. So I have the package. We get on something like this. I share the screen with them, and I basically go through the closing docs via Zoom. So they can just go into the closing with one title agent, blast through the docs because they already went through everything with me. They don't have any questions, and they're in and out to kind of avoid the exposure. But it sucks. Closing is fun. It's supposed to be like an experience, especially for first-time home buyers. So, you get hype, especially, I mean, like when I go to closings, I try to make it fun. Like we spend more time breaking balls and bullshitting than we do actually going through the numbers, because it's just, everybody's there. It's an experience. Kind of like dilutes it now because you're just like, all right, yeah, it's supposed to be one of the best times, most impactful experiences of your life. And they're like, oh, I buy my first house. We go through the docs on a Zoom, and then they go to closing, and it's one person with gloves and a mask on, and they're standing 6 feet away from you, basically throwing documents at you.
That's definitely not fun. But a lot of other states, they haven't had closings in a long time. I mean, nobody goes. It closes on one side and then closes on the other side, and it's funded and it's done. Never see each other. They thought it was weird when I would say about going on to the closings, and they're like, we don't go to a closing. It's stuff happens.
We don't really need to either. And honestly, this has actually, we already had partial e-closings, with half the package, but the notary aspect of it always needed to be in person.
Right.
This pandemic has caused companies and legislation to actually adapt and push it faster. So, I can't confirm or deny, but it's coming to the point where you will have remote notary very, very soon, where there will be no closings anymore. Yeah, everything will be like this, like sign, click. Yeah.
Yeah. Nationwide. I think it's going to go through.
It's going to change the way we're doing business for sure.
More efficient.
It is more efficient. And again, it takes away I think it takes away the actual experience and the relationship of it. But for efficiency purposes,
Well, think about this. Have you ever been to a closing where the title clerk wasn't prepared and you sat there for hours because they were still doing the settlement sheet while you were there, or whatever else they were supposed to be doing that wasn't done yet, and they're calling in for certs for PGW or whatever?
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious how that's going to work on from the virtual aspect. So what are we going to? So if I'm waiting at a closing, am I just going to like sit here like this, be like, oh wait, they're waiting for the lender package, or they're waiting for, you know what I mean?
No,
You're just going to for 30 minutes, or you just unclick and say, send me a notification when I'm ready, and I'll just come back into it.
I think so. That's what I would think. It should all be ready. They shouldn't even be contacting you till they have everything and it's ready to go and fund. And that's it. You know, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of really cool things that our businesses are doing, and the way that people are adapting and changing. And, you know, I noticed your company had a program, the Frontline Heroes. So that's for like doctors, nurses, cops.
So there was I'll go a little bit into it. There was a bunch of loan officers at Movement that had reached out to our leadership that had mentioned they wanted to do something. I can't take credit for it, so I know, but I know there was a bunch of loan officers that had reached out to leadership that said, you know, what can we do to contribute? And there's some legalities behind it, and I don't know how they came to the solution that we did. But people were like, you know, we want to contribute a portion of our commission. Like, how do we do that without breaking banking laws? So they found the way to do it, and it's a collaboration between Movement Mortgage as a company and the loan officer that's writing the loan, up to $2,500 as a straight credit. Like, you know, I don't know if you saw my stories and stuff. Like, I knew I was going to get 100 messages about what's the catch. This is the rate 5%. Do I have to stay in the home for a decade because you're giving me 25? You know what I mean? I was like, no, there's no catch. And there's really no way to pinpoint one particular industry. So it is truly for hospital workers. So, I mean, even if you're making meals in the cafeteria at Penn, you qualify. So it's anybody that's directly supporting the COVID-19 pandemic support. So, and we're actually, since it's so fresh and we're getting a lot of input as we go, there will be updates to it. So there's going to be a frequently asked questions portion that we're going to get out today or tomorrow, where a lot of the questions that I'm getting, which one of them was big about, like, hey, well, I work at Penn and I'm supporting it, but I'm not a doctor. Well, you qualify. Yeah. So it's a straight credit. I mean, it does go into your third-party allowance, whether it's 3% or 6%, whatever program you're in, that it's included in that amount. So you can't get 6% assist on an FHA loan and then we give you $2,500. That's not going to work. Sure. It goes into that amount. But, you know, if it can reduce your sale price or if reduce your closing costs, you know.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we'll get that info. Send it over to me and we'll push that out to, you know, all the people that we work with as well to get the word out. I think
and it's purchases and refis. So if you're in an opportunity where, you know, like you think you may refi and you know, after we roll the closing costs into the loan, it might not be as cost effective. Well, maybe that $2,500 was just the teetering point to say, okay, you know what? Now I'm only rolling this much into my loan. It makes more sense now. So
right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's cool. And we're just, you know what I mean? As a whole, you know, it's, you know, I can't speak for the industry, but I know there's just so much stuff on the internet, and, you know, we should probably transition into the whole forbearance thing, because I get messages every day on that.
I just saw something, Mark. They said that if you ask for the forbearance, and then, okay, so you get it, and then you want to sell your house and buy another house, I heard that you won't get financed. Is that true?
Well, so Movement just started servicing our loans, so I'm not as well versed on it, but from people that I've talked to I have not pulled anyone's credit that's been in forbearance. but the people that I've spoken to, colleagues and friends of mine, either at Movement or other banks, have pulled people's credit that have the forbearance already listed, and it will show, and it has already shown 30-day lates on your credit. We all know you can get a mortgage with one 30-day late, but there's very specific programs and parameters that'll actually get you approved. Some you have to be 12 months without one. So if you think that you can move forward with a forbearance, chances are it's going to hurt you, and it's going to hurt you hard. Okay. So this is not supposed to be come off insensitive or anything like that. If you need it, it should be the app. You should let your car loan, you should let your power bill, you should let anything else go in the red before you decide to miss your mortgage payment. And it's not because I write mortgage for a living and I want everybody to keep paying them. It's just so impactful to have a 30-day late on a mortgage on your credit. So what they're doing is they're reporting it late. And from what I understand is, we haven't been in it long enough to actually know. But what you'll do is, if you'll do the 3 months within the last 30 days, they're gonna your servicer is gonna contact you and ask you, like, what's the move? Are you back? Are you still being impacted? Do you need another 3 months? Whatever the case may be, and then they'll discuss either a payment plan to recoup it. You'll pay them all. You know what? Everything's great. It was only 2 weeks. I'm gonna pay them all back, make it current. But it's still a modification. It's still a modification. So I don't know if you make all 3 and you bring it up current, if they remove the 30-day lates off your credit. And I actually don't know the answer to that. What I will tell you is, don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody. Record the phone call if you have to. Get it in an email. Call your servicer directly, because every servicer is going to handle things differently. So it doesn't matter what anybody says. Doesn't matter what you read about what Fannie Mae says or Freddie Mac or anything like that. Call your servicer and ask them, what are my options and how is this going to be reported? Because if you get a 30-day late, you are stuck for at least 12 months, unless there's other options that aren't as favorable, but you are stuck. And like I said, unless it's absolutely necessary, you should avoid forbearance by any means necessary. Don't take it as a free ticket. Like, I've had people that have literally said, like, I could use 3 months. I don't really need it, but who wouldn't want a free 3 months? There's no such thing as a free lunch, Marie. You know that, right?
I do.
Everything has a cost. And if you think you're going to get away with 3 months, like I said, if you need it, you need it. That's fine. Like, shit happens. Credit cards get maxed out. We all go through it. If you need it, take it. But if you think that you're like, my mortgage is $2,000, and you're like, I could use an extra 6, it will cost you drastically over the long haul. So take that as a PSA. Don't use it unless you have to.
Missing a payment is no joke. I mean, when we got married, that month, I forgot to pay the mortgage. I called.
You're in real estate.
Yeah, I forgot. I mean, shit happens. Look.
Yeah, right.
That's the truth. I forgot. I called. I begged them. I'm like, I was getting married. It went out the window. I just completely. And I always had it on auto pay. And then I switched to bank or something happened like that and didn't get it back on there. And right after that happened, I made sure it got back on auto pay. But that's the one thing I would never not pay the mortgage.
What'd they do?
I couldn't find the financing I wanted. They didn't.
Did they do anything? Did they? Because you know what? There's this like.
I begged.
No, they didn't do anything.
No.
That's that you're dealing with a monster there. I
called. I begged. I cried.
Nothing.
No.
My understanding in reality, I tell people that have credit cards and stuff like that, when we see a late payment, I'm like, you know what, work up some tears, call 3 or 4 times till you get somebody on the phone that actually gives a shit, and maybe you'll get a supervisor, because they can change it. They can report to the bureau if they want to. They can understand it's circumstantial and say, you know what, we'll give you a freebie. I mean, unfortunately, though, when you're dealing with a Goliath like Chase, it's probably hard to get that one person that can make that decision because they're so huge. That would just be my assumption, but it can be done. If they wanted to, they can give you a pass. because I've seen it done before. Well, they'll reverse it. They'll report it as paid on time, give you a one get out of jail free card. So it can be done, but mortgages are tough. I'm kind of curious how, now that we've transitioned into the servicing aspect of it, I never really thought it was a big deal. I was like, I thought you either serviced or you originated. You never really wanted to dip your toe in both. You just wanted to do one thing great. And then you'd be like, all right, well, we're going to originate. We're going to get you to the table on time. We're going to give you the best terms we can. And then this is going to be your servicer. It's not going to happen 6 months, 12 months. It's not going to happen 3 or 4 times. I'm going to tell you exactly at closing, this is where it's going. This is where you're making your payment. They're a direct partner of ours. That's where it's going. But now that I've seen the impact of servicing, you kind of get that client for life mentality where they can come to me for everything now. So now I have my hand in everything. I'm before, I'm during, and I'm post transaction. So relationships are the one thing that are the most important to me when it comes to my clients and my referral partners and everything. I want to be the plug for everything. Just call me for anything and I'll make it happen. And if I can't, I have somebody that can do it. So now that I'm going to have the loan afterwards as well, I feel like that's going to really help me give that total package service.
When did that start?
Just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And what had happened was we were going to crawl, walk, run with it. So starting in the beginning of the year, we were only servicing our conventional loans for President's Club members. So only our top performers were going to get the servicing just to start, kind of just mitigate your risk. It's all based on, the quality of the file. So, conventional loans are the cleanest for the most part, right? Your FHA have more risk to them. There's still solid FHA buyers, but statistically they're more risk. So we started with conventional. And then what had happened with all this forbearance and all this volatility in the market, well, what a lot of people don't know is there's pricing hits that get impacted in your rate that you can offer based on the servicer's risk. So when they were starting to worry about all these forbearances and having to make all these payments to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but they weren't going to get the payments in return, well, they put that pricing on us and everybody to say like, okay, we'll still buy these loans, but we're going to smack you with the pricing. So I thought it was quite ballsy of movement as a whole, especially to support their sales staff to be like, we're not going to put that on you. You know what? Like we've done the numbers. We figured out the risk. We're just going to buy them all. So it was almost, as far as us, we found out one day and they were like, starting tomorrow, every loan that you write, we're going to take them all. So then now we don't have to deal with the loan level price adjustments of sending that loan to someone post closing because there's a cost to it. Now that cost is gone. So now we can then take that savings and bring it on to the consumer. So
that's fantastic.
It's a massive move, but it impressed me. If there's ever any kind of doubt in your mind, because you always want complete transparency with your leadership. And, when your company gets to a certain size, you're always wondering, are they telling me everything? Like, are we really as good as we think we are? Or are we really in the dump? Like, are we just going to file bankruptcy tomorrow and I'm not going to be able to write a loan? Something like that. When you make a move like that, that's all I needed to hear. We're kept in tune. The communication is on point. We have a C-suite leadership meeting every day at 5 o'clock during this thing. So we know what's going on every day. The communication is clear as day. But then to make a move like that, to say we're just going to buy them all because we don't want to be handcuffed by something like that. We're not going to let somebody dictate our pricing. That's all I needed. So when people ask me, are you guys, can I still get a loan? Are your turn times still the same? Are your underwriting requirements? Like we tightened up on a couple of the more risky loans, the 203Ks, the home styles, but for the most part, we're business as usual. We're still doing the rescues, still closing loans in 8 or 9 days if you need to. We're making it happen. So that helps me in an industry like this where everything's shut down and we don't know what's next and what's going on. To know that I have that confidence to tell people I could still do, what you've come to know me as is the authentic person that if I tell you something, it's going to happen. Well, there was a piece of me that was kind of like, shit, am I going to be able to back this up now? Like what's going to happen? But now that only lasted for like a day or two. After they made that move, I was right back to normal. I was like, yeah, bring it on, send it over. Like we'll fix it. So yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster, but as of right now, we're rocking and rolling. So
You're still closing loans in 10 days. That's
They'll close them in 10 days. Yeah.
it's really amazing. Even
Yeah.
with everything that's going on with the title, and you're still able to get it done.
Well, that would be mostly so. So again, communication is key. So some titles are coming back in 24 hours still. It's all county to county, and I can't speak 100% as to the title aspect of it. I haven't had any issues with mine, but at the same time, I'm not setting people up for failure. I mean, unless it's drastic, yeah, I'm telling people like just your 30 days is still very doable for most people. So, unless it's a rescue where it's blowing up and I get a phone call from somebody, it's either somebody removed the program and dropped the ball or whatever the reason may be. Well, then I'll prioritize that file and put it on top of the pile. But for the most part, like I don't want my team, and when I say my team, I mean just like everybody in my network that I do business with, I don't want them to be stressed just because like we want to look cool and close a loan in 10 days. Like I'm not doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're giving everybody, I mean, I do refis, I'm putting them 45 days out unless you're like, oh, I specifically need to close on this day. Like there's no reason to rush. Like give everybody their time so that the team doesn't get overwhelmed. So that when I do get something that needs to be done in 10 or 14 days, I can use that favor for that one. But yeah, title companies, appraisers, they're doing exterior onlys. So they don't have to go in the home. The only time we're getting hit on having to do full interiors are the construction loans, new construction, or cash out refis, or if you're going FHA to Fannie, like you're switching programs. But if it's Fannie to Fannie, Freddie to Freddie, you could do an exterior only appraiser, so that's not an issue. Even if it's a purchase, you can do exterior only, so that's not holding us. So yeah, title and maybe home inspections. I kind of just like cover them, don't tell me. I don't want to know because I don't know how they're doing home inspections right now. It's technically you're not supposed to. You know what I mean? So maybe they're doing,
I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm not going to steamroll anybody. I have no idea, but that would be the home inspections and title if the county is backlogged or they can't get it for some reason. Those would be your only things that would hold you up. From a lender perspective, it's business as usual. Everybody's mobilized. Movement was built in 08 during the economy. So I mean, like this was not a big transition for us. We were already built to mobilize. It was like, oh, we have to work from home. Okay, grab your laptop, take it with you. Like, we were already ready. So it wasn't really a big deal for us to do that. And in fact, it only made us more efficient because, like I said, you have an office with 300, 400, 500 people. There's going to be that office gossip, that like just that walking around, going to the bathroom, stop at your buddy's cubicle or something, well, that's not there anymore. Now you're just at your house. So you're just in the zone. Nobody's doing anything, but they're just working so efficiently. So it only made us better.
Do you find yourself sitting in front of your computer for hours and then you realize that it's 2:00 and you haven't had lunch?
Yes. And coffee helps with that too. But at the same time, I'm sitting right now. I stand 90% of the day in my office.
You do?
Yeah. So I'm a walker. I get a lot of hands when I'm on the phone. I'm going back and forth. So that's why I figured like if this is going to be what we're doing, I gotta establish an office. So that's why I bought a stand-up desk. I got the monitors going. Like I have to stand when I'm speaking because I move a lot. So this is really difficult for me to be in a seat like this. But yeah, like it's the same. I mean, it's just more phone and video now. That gets a little redundant. You can split your day up. You have a happy hour meeting or you have a lunch or somebody pops in the office randomly. You can kind of break up the communication so it just chops up your day. Now this is all there is. Phone call, phone call, phone call, phone call, one after another. So the monotony of that is a little getting to me a little bit, but yeah.
We're all working a lot. We're putting a lot more effort into it for sure. I mean, we're working longer. We're working and we're doing more work during the time we're working because we're not moving anywhere. I mean, where am I going from my third floor to my second floor to my third floor to my second floor to my bedroom to the bathroom? I mean, I actually, if I'm not on Zoom, I put my headset on and I walk around the house and I pace back and forth because I'm not getting I'm not going anywhere. I'm not getting any I'm not getting the exercise I should be. But I'm just used to walking around the city.
Mm.
So I've been like pacing around. Now it's going to be nice out. So hopefully I'll make myself get out of the house. I've been really just in the house. I know we talked a little earlier. You said you went out today for the first time in a week.
I wanted to move my car, make sure it's still started. I haven't put gas in my tank in a month and a half. It's pretty fun.
I mean, I haven't been anywhere, but
I went. That's all you can do. This is all you can do. You know, the whole thing about our industry is content and just being out and about, so people see you, they know who you are. So like, we can't do that anymore. You know, you can't pop in an office, you can't take a meeting. So this is it. This is it. This is how you stay top of mind. You just got to be.
I'm doing coffee meetings. These are my coffee meetings.
Yeah.
My lunch meetings. We're just doing it on Zoom and on Facebook Live. Which, you know, listen, I stepped out of my comfort zone. I never did this before up until a few weeks, a month ago.
Right.
Now, you know, turning that into content and into podcasts and all these other things and really building an online brand. I mean, now we have time at least to focus on some things that we weren't able to do before.
I wish it went back to the old way. I mean,
but what are we going to do?
No, you know, they keep preaching, adapt and overcome. So I'm just rolling with it. And, you know, if you either adapt or you die, you know, and there's the hard truth of it is whether it's the loan officer, the title agent, the realtor, we've all been sitting on cloud nine for years. Business has just been booming. Well, what's that? If you're that person,
I said, you have no idea. You like the people that were in the business in 08. I said to them on our call last night, the staff, I said, listen, we've been living in like la la land. You can't, the deal will get signed later. It is gonna, no, time kills all offers. The deals have to get signed immediately. There has to be more urgency. There has to be like massive urgent follow-up because something else could come along. Oh, yeah. They decide to change their mind or, you know, I mean, you really have to, we were operating on a different pace and you have to pick up the pace and you have to create more urgency with people. And I for 10 years, what is it now? 10 years now, 11. 11 is when the market started to go do up. It's been since 2011 that it's been like this.
And I don't even know that world. I haven't been around that long.
I mean, you know? It was 4 times the amount of work, literally. 4
and it's going to be now, though. What's going to happen now is if you were so complacent because the business just showed up because there was so much of it, and you don't adapt your business model to this new way of thinking and this new way of doing it, you will die. You will fall faster than ever. And it will happen. It will happen very, very fast. So I've been using this time, you know, my model kind of transitions a little bit, but you know, I've been using this time to, you know, if you're not extroverted enough to do either a live or a Zoom or something like that, it's gonna be really tough because people don't see you, they don't know you, they forget you. So you have to be out and about. You have to step up your social media game. You have to get comfortable on camera, whatever it is, because this is how we're going to do business. Again, if you're in denial of that and you think the days of the in-person, I mean, it may come back, but it's going to be years. Like this is what it is. So practice, I guess. You know, nobody's first video is good. They all suck. You know.
I'll tell you this though. My sucky video is better than your video. How about that?
People usually acknowledge what it takes to do either something like this or video yourself. Nobody, at least that would be pretty cruel to see a video on IG or something like that, where you're just trying to give some sort of information, and the first thing in your mind is like, wow, they look stupid. Like nobody will do that. So if you can get past that part to be like, what are people thinking about my hair or what I'm wearing or something? You just grab the phone and you're just walking around town and you just want to send a message. Nobody's going to think that. They're going to be like, wow, that takes balls. I should do that too. So, and I do more of these. So that I don't really do that portion of it where I'm just speaking on camera to deliver a message. I do it through other outlets, but I'll wind up transitioning into that too. I've been thinking about it for a while, but that's all part of it. Crawl, walk, run. I'm not saying like I'm immediately going to start a podcast and start doing lives and all this other stuff. Like, but that is the new norm. It's I like throwing parties. You know what I mean? Like that's my thing. I like throwing big events where everybody gets together, and it's not a pitch to Movement Mortgage. It's not a, hey, let me tell you how I can grow your business. It's, we work all day, let's just get to know people that you work with or in your industry or whatever as a person and have a good time. Like that's the whole meaning behind the events that I throw. And I don't know if that's going to work anymore. I don't know if 200 people are going to want to be in a room at the same time, talking and drinking and doing, I don't know. I'm hoping by September, maybe might be able to do one, but bars might not even open till August. So I don't know. So I have to kind of transition. That was was like my big thing twice a year. That was my big thing to kind of get everybody together. And I've had 5 or 6 of them now. So it's kind of gotten a following. And now, okay, well, that's not my thing anymore. So I'm hoping that it comes back because I kind of enjoyed those. But
well, you create community, right? So you're creating community, you're creating opportunities for other people to network together, and in a fun, atmosphere, and to blow off some steam after like the crazy real estate world that we live in.
Right.
So hopefully that comes back. You're right. It probably won't be till the fall, but we don't know. None of us have a crystal ball, so we could just. And I think that's what the hardest thing is that the uncertainty, Mark, that we're all. See, we always lived in uncertainty, but we didn't behave that way.
Right.
And it's a change in adapting our thinking and our behavior to, we live in an uncertain world. We always just took it for granted, and we didn't believe that. We didn't believe it. It was just always there.
These are great. Why worry about what can be when every day the phone was ringing and the contracts were coming in? Nobody really had a pandemic plan and what could be if life changed the way we do. Like, you're used to doing business for life. I mean, I've only been in this my 5th year. So, for me to transition, not really a huge thing, but what if you've been doing this 10, 20 years and it's kind of like the people that are still writing written contracts. And when you get one of those and you're like, this gets serious. Like, we've had DocuSign for a decade. Really? You know what I mean? Kind of like that. That if you try to still do business the same way that we were doing before this, it's going to be frowned upon. They're going to be like, we don't do this anymore. So you're either going to adapt and overcome, but nobody knew this was coming. So nobody was prepared for it. We were booming. I mean, things were great. We had the best January and February we've ever seen. Usually there's a fall off. There was no fall. Spring market started immediately.
Yeah, January was a fantastic month. I mean, February was a great month. March for closed business was great, for new pending business. I think it was when the NBA shut down and then sports all started shutting down, everything.
It came quick.
People kind of were like, what's going on? I actually then didn't. I was just like, okay, well, that's weird. I didn't take it. I don't want to say serious. That's not the right word, but I kind of just kept doing my thing. Then the restaurants closed, and I was like, and it was my husband's birthday that day, and we're supposed to go to Vetri, like we're treating a special dinner.
Right.
And that's when I was like, this is fucking serious. I was freaking.
I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was like a week or two, and I was in complete denial. I was like, what do you mean we're not going to the office? What do you mean? Like, I fully thought we went to President's Club, right? Our President's Club trip was March 5th in Mexico.
You were
I
there?
know, I know many other companies that canceled their trips to Mexico and all around that were within a week of ours. And I would probably say like 10% of the President's Club members just said we're not going. So there was some fallout even from our company. But we were down in Mexico. We were in Cabo having a great time, not even knowing what business was booming. We were talking about how great our pipelines looked. We were celebrating a great year last year. Then we got back, and within a week, it was just shutdown mode. We were just like, wow, we were just celebrating a week ago, and now everything's changed. Like back into the war room, figure out how we can make things make it work in this remote environment. So it's almost like when you start, whether you first get in the business or when we first started this, I was like, wow, how are we going to do this? I mean, we were kind of saved by the refis. I mean, they just came in like a flood. So that's kind of just, refis are not a business builder. They're a moment in time. It's like found money. You're just like, oh yeah, you want, like, rates are low, you want to refi, but you can't build your business and rely on refis. It's just it's not sustainable, at least in my opinion. But as far as like the purchase business and that whole market, now that we're 30 days in or whatever, it's 40 days in, I feel a little bit better about it because we've been doing it for a little while. But in the very beginning, we were, I was freaking out a little bit. I was like, well, how much do I have in savings that can make me last until this goes down? But then as everybody kind of rolled with it, figured it out, it's becoming, like I said, the new norm. So it's not as scary as it was when we first started. So I'm very optimistic as to what the future holds.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of opportunity right now for people that can view it that way and see it that way. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the rates.
Rates are low. They're going to be low for the foreseeable future. But to step on that real quick, because I got a lot of these messages too, and I tend to be very upfront with my posts and my message. If you're worried about rates going lower, rates are historically low. I mean, like I'll just it's low threes. Let's just call it low threes for a conventional buyer, right? Some of the government programs can even be in the twos. Okay, like it's absurd. If you're still asking about rates right now, you're not a buyer. They're not. I mean, like you're gonna worry about an eighth of a point.
If a buyer's shopping rates,
no, not shopping me. No, I don't. If you're shopping me, I don't. Yeah, I don't deal with that. Yeah, because like there's more to a mortgage than a rate, right? If you're just looking for a lowest rate, call somebody, go on the internet, you'll find somebody in another state that'll give you the lowest rate. But like that's why we do rescues, because it's not always about the rate. People promise the world and they can't deliver. So
I've never got a mortgage based on a rate. Never. And I'm in the business.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in this,
maybe on a refi because you're in the home already. So if it takes you 90 days to close and you're not in any particular rush and you can deal with the back and forth and whatever the annoying bullshit that you have to deal with, okay, maybe it's worth it if the rate is that amazing. But like we're all competitive. Every company's within a range. If it wasn't, we would all work for one company. So as far as rates are concerned, it's an important aspect. I don't want to downplay it. You should get a solid rate, but if you're looking for a lower rate at this point, and you're realtor, you're going out and you're looking at properties, and you're like, you know what, I think I want to wait for the rates to get a little bit lower. You should stop wasting everybody's time.
Well, especially since realtors can't show property.
Well, that too. So it's kind of like now's the time to actually, if you want to do that, you're not wasting anybody's time because there's nothing out there to see.
Nope.
But
should be nobody showing, but that's another story.
But as far as rates are concerned, I mean, the Fed has done everything they possibly can do, from buying $5 to $10 billion a day in mortgage-backed securities to stabilize that market. I mean, rates are low. The volatility for the most part from a month ago has stabilized. They're not moving quite as much as they have, but they're low, and they're really low. So if you're looking to purchase, I mean, just on a $400,000 property, I mean, you're talking hundreds of dollars from 6 months ago to today. If you were looking to buy, your buying power went up dramatically. So if you're looking, now's the time. Don't think. Everybody has FOMO, right? They're always thinking like, can the rate get lower? You don't guess. It's a guess. You can't say like, I'm going to lock at the lowest point. If you happen to, it was dumb luck, because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I put out a graphic that showed all the top entities, all the top people in our business, whether it's NAR or it was Fannie or it was Freddie. December of 2018, they all estimated rates to be anywhere from 5.25 to 5.5 for 2019. So everybody that's looking at that article that went out saying that Fannie Mae is predicting that rates will be in the twos in 2021, roll the dice. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But you know what? You can get 3.25. You can get 3. You can get 3.125 today. So why wouldn't you take that today, knowing that that's pretty damn low, on the off chance that they're right, because somebody wrote an article that we're going to go to 2.99 or 2.75 on our 30-year fixed? Because you know what? If we start recovering well and the economy's doing well, there's no reason why we can't be back in the 4s in 2021. They're just assuming this is going to be like a 2-3 year recovery. But if we get back to work and things start going well, and these overinflated unemployment numbers that mean absolutely nothing because it's not real, the businesses are closed. That's why unemployment's blowing up. You can't work. Not that they don't have a job. They're not even open. So that unemployment, it's all fraudulent. I mean, it's just not real. When we get back to work and the economy starts doing what it's doing, there's no reason why the Fed can't just be like, all right, you know what? We did our job. We're going to start backing off a little bit now. I'm not saying that the Fed fund rate's going to go up, but as a whole, if the economy's doing well, rates go up. That
It makes sense. But what's going on with the jumbo? Because I'm hearing like that is really hard to get jumbo money right now.
Yeah, I don't. My jumbos are trash right now. Anybody that calls me for a size like that, they're trash. I'm just being real. It just is what it is. We used to have 10% down options and stuff like that. They've kind of been put on hold by our investors. We do have 20% options, but they're solid. I just don't do a lot. I don't do a lot of them. It's not really my market. I chop them up more. I like the first and second options a lot better, because I'm always preaching liquidity and wealth, and putting 20% down is not something that I generally think is a good idea for building wealth and staying as liquid as possible to maximize your money, making money. So I do a lot of first and seconds, just for one, to stay out of PMI. If you don't need to, I'll do an 80-10-10 or even an 80-15-5, where you only put down 5% with some of the banking partners that I have for that. That's where I live, and I think that's the better option. But there's solid banks out there. I mean, I have friends in the industry, whether it's TD Bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. They're still doing. Some of them are only giving rates. They're only doing business. They have overlays as far as the relationship. So if you're a current Wells Fargo client, or if you're a current, like, you're in, they're going to be great. I mean, some of these rates that I've heard from friends of mine are staggering low. I mean, so there's just not going to be the guy that wants to buy a $900,000 house and put 5% down. I don't know where you get that right now. They used to be around, but I don't know where you would get that. Yeah, but some of these banks that are full depository banks that have their hands in everything, like, we're just a mortgage bank, so we can mitigate our risk based just on the mortgage market. But if you're a full bank, depending on where the economy is hitting you, you're going to mitigate your risk and up your requirements. So I know everybody kind of mentioned about Chase went to 700 on their minimum. For the most part, I mean, like, I don't think I've ever written a jumbo loan under 700 anyway. Most of those buyers, I mean, there's going to be one-offs. I'm not, I don't want anybody like coming at me saying like, oh, I had 660, I bought $1 million house. I know they're out there, but for the most part, your buyers that are looking in the jumbo loan departments are going to have over a 700 anyway. So when I saw that, I didn't think it was that big of a deal anyway. But the jumbo market, the jumbo and the non-QM was the first thing to get put on pause, because they're the biggest loans and the most risk. were the non-QMs, the bank statement loans that started to come out, the stated income that started to come out. Like they started coming back. Right? They were the first thing to go.
Yeah.
And then the jumbo market, just because of the size of the loan. I mean,
Yeah.
it's big and they're bigger loans. So they're going to have more risk, they have more requirements. There's the one that they got tightened next, then FHA and so on and so on. But things have come back already, at least from our perspective. We've already loosened everything back to pre-pandemic levels. We have,
See,
like,
so Mark, that's what I'm saying. We talked for a second before we jumped on the live, and we're living in an environment where things are changing so quickly, and information is every day. It's something new. Like I didn't know. You're just telling me now that you've moved your company's criteria back to what it was before, because there was tightening, that pulling back on the FHA requirements and stipulations and such. So. It
was based on servicing, so that did help, right?
Yeah.
So the servicers that would buy the loan, like that would take the servicing afterwards, not the investor, but the servicing, they would want certain. It came a lot from them. They said, "Well, we'll buy the loans, but we're gonna crush you if you deliver a 640." Well, so we went to we would go to or I'm sorry, like a 600. Like FHA will go down to 500. We don't write those, but like we used to go to 580, and they're like, no. So we went up to 640. So that was like kind of like our little tightening. But then once we figured it out, we did the servicing move. Now we're like, well, we don't have that problem anymore. We'll make our decision for ourselves based on what we want to approve.
So we
do everything. They only have a handful of them left. And it's more, again, it's one of the more detailed programs like your 203Ks and your home styles. We have slight overlays on those from a credit score perspective. But debt to income, still, back to writing FHAs. If you're at a 55% debt to income, you get an approved eligible. We're still doing those conventional. I mean, we're cash outs is the only thing that we put a 680 on requirement. But yeah, we're back to normal, and with the exception of just a handful of things, but nothing that's going to be detrimental to your business. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't. When I'm talking about 203Ks and home styles, I'm actually on board with tightening those a little bit, because those are complicated transactions that, I don't necessarily think we should do for high debt to income and low credit score buyers. So I'm completely on board with that move, but everything else has gone back to pre-pandemic levels, with the exception of some of the non-QM bank statement jumbo loans that we had that were 10% down. Some of those ones, those haven't come back, but the majority of our business is conventional and FHA loans anyway. Like that's the majority. Those are back to normal. We have no problems closing those.
That's good. So anything new you've been doing for fun?
No, absolutely not. My birthday was yesterday. It was awesome. A lot of shout outs, a lot of texts, a lot of calls, a lot of DMs, and everybody asked me the same thing. What are you doing for your birthday? And it was this right here. That was it. Working. Yeah, working. It's just another day. So it's unfortunate because it's usually a fun day. But it is what it is. I don't dwell on it. I know it'll come back. As soon as it starts warming up, it'll be fun. Like that's kind of what's been the shittiest part of this, is it's been cold and rainy every day. So once it starts warming up, I don't think it'll be that hard to deal with. And by then, hopefully we've already transitioned into a little bit coming back to life. Yeah. Like I think your Center City sips and your those type of things are probably not going to happen this year, because those are just huge gatherings. But it'd be nice to meet a friend, even if if it's every other table, to be able to just go out and get a meal, grab a drink or something. Like I've been seeing that meme go around to say, for $1 million, could you live in a cabin by yourself for a year? I used to always be like, yeah, 100%. Put me in there and write the check. I'm 30 days in, and I'm like, I could never do 11 more months of this. I can't.
Don't even say it.
And that's not gonna get. It's not gonna be. But I mean, I'm just saying, for it puts things into perspective as to like what you come to appreciate, whether it's just popping over for a drink real quick or grabbing a meal with a friend. Like, man, not to get all like sappy about it, because it's really not my move. I'm not really known for getting to that emotional level like that, so I'm not going to go there. But like, it really does. I'm looking forward to some warmer temps and being able to go out and do business the way, at least a little bit, the way we used to, and seeing my friends and colleagues and stuff like back in the day. It seems like it was forever ago. It's as long as 30 days of my life. But
it's been 6 weeks, so it's more than 30 days.
Silver lining, though, as a whole, business has been good. I can't complain. I'm in a fortunate position where the phone still rings. People are still working that I'm talking to. So I don't, I want to be humble about it because it's like kind of bittersweet because I do talk to people that are struggling. So, I'm trying to do everything I can to help them being in the position that I'm in. So, from a realtor standpoint, though, I do talk to a lot of them. Hopefully that they can get back to doing what they do, because even though there might be some stragglers, the people that are putting the things under contract during this, like, they need to get back to work. Not even for me, just in general. We have to get back. So are you just like real quick? Are you doing a lot of virtuals or anything like that? You getting like sight unseen? Are people taking advantage of this situation? Because I feel like if I'm optimistic and I'm a buyer, I'm gonna kind of, not to say prey on the weak, but I'm gonna take advantage of a scenario that I think in my mind is only temporary. And if there's a fearful seller or a listing, someone that's like, just dump it, just get rid of it. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't get stuck with it. I think I'd be a buyer right now and try to score something. Get anything like that?
Yeah, I think there's some of that happening. Here's the facts. Like in Philadelphia County, there's just under 3,600 homes on the market.
Mm.
Do a comparison. Last year, today, same time, same area, same all of Philadelphia County, there was 8,500, 8,560. So that's just residential. It doesn't take into consideration commercial or vacant land, multifamily or anything, just residential. So we're down in inventory by, oh my God, what percent is that? I didn't even figure out the percent. Like,
is that just because people aren't listing their homes right now because they're just like, I'm going to wait till this shakes out, or because we're just selling that many houses?
no. So less listings coming online. And because the agents can't show, look, can a seller let a buyer in? Sure, it's their house. They can let anybody in their house if they want to let in, right?
Right.
So some of that's happening, right? Or let's get on Zoom. Let's walk through the house with the listing, the buyer's agent, the seller, the buyer, right? Through virtually. That's happening. We're doing deals like that way. We're doing all of our listing appointments on Zoom. Before this happened, 50% of my appointments were on the phone. And then some of them, because they didn't live here, a lot of them. And then I would go and go to the property, whatever. So now that's just all done online, right? It's done virtually. So we did get a decent amount of listings in April. Obviously, listen, nowhere near what we usually would do, but we're still conducting business all from our houses. And but you can't get into some buildings. Like you can't, that's for like investment property or a big property. Somebody that's living in the house, it's really tough if they're selling it, they're living in it, and trying to get to the next house. It's already challenging to do that sale. And in this environment, it's extra challenging because some people just want to walk through the house, like rightfully so. Who wouldn't want to walk through the house? So we definitely had to change like a whole slew of things that we did and add a whole new layers and layers of things into the mix in order to, make it all happen. It's definitely been a lot of work, and thank God I'm blessed and grateful and appreciative of my team. They're amazing, and they're all working really hard, to make sure that we take care of the clients and that we help them get to whatever they need to do, either buy or sell. And I'm super frustrated because I think that it is unconstitutional that the governor is standing in the way of people and shelter. If you want to rent an apartment in Center City in a high rise, forget it. Not happening. Can't happen. So where do you go? So my dad's he's in another bedroom. He's 70. Like, this is serious. This is real. I mean, this is my personal, like, forget I'm a real estate agent. I'm a broker. Forget about that. Like, getting people shelter. What about all the people that are, in the middle of divorces, getting divorces? They have to sell. They have to get other places to live. People that are in abusive relationships. There's like, the list goes on and on and on, Mark. And it is just, I mean, it's starting to, this week was taking a toll on me mentally. Like, I was so upset, like, on the daily basis about this, because I feel like nobody's listening. Government, GPAR, all of
them. We could spend another hour on that.
I know.
It's exhausting, and hopefully the only silver lining, hopefully you could say, is that it's only a moment in time. Hopefully it's for the better good of everybody, that we can all suck it up for a month, 45 days, something like that. When I started hearing like the July, and that won't work. I'm sorry. It's just, that won't work. We have to figure out another plan, because you just can't keep people caged up for that long. Everybody could suck it up for 30, 60 days for the better good of everybody.
Sure.
But, I don't have a small business. I know plenty of these small restaurants and businesses that I'm friends with. It just kills me that they're just draining money, and they can't do what they've taken so long to build. So hopefully that should be the number one thing. I mean, on top of people getting better and trying to come up with all that other stuff, we definitely want to contain it and figure out how to fix it. But the first thing that should be on their mind is, like, how do we get these small businesses back up and running? Whether it's the realtor or it's the small sandwich shop that everybody goes to at lunch that runs thin margins and will go under, and if they don't open back up. Maybe you'll just have the boarded up spots will just stay boarded up because they can't come back from it. Because we're not going to come back full force.
No.
So if they were barely breaking even when we were booming, they'll just be like, it's not even worth it. I'll just keep the doors closed, and that would suck. That would really suck. So
yeah, it will. Definitely not good. And we all have our favorite places, and it's
hopefully next time we come back, I can promote my next events, and we're having a beverage somewhere, talking about how much that sucked, but how much it's coming back.
Be soon enough.
Yeah,
not be soon enough. Well, I appreciate all your insight today. Really great information that you were able to share about Movement Mortgage and all the cool stuff your company's doing. And so congratulations on that, and moving all the loans in-house. It's a big move.
Big move for Movement.
I appreciate your time, Mark. I know we're all like crazy busy right now to get stuff done and from our houses. So I wish you, I hope that your birthday celebrations continue this weekend virtually.
Yeah, right.
You get out and get some air.
I appreciate it. This has been awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.